Bills because of the coaching acumen of Sean McDermott. Obviously, they add some talent around Josh Allen here. They've gotten consistently better offensively, and defensively, they've been one of the best teams over the last couple of years. But I'm not counting out the Pats. I mean, Bill Belichick is one of the great coaches of all time, if not the greatest coach of all time, because of his ability to improvise and keep everyone, top to bottom of that roster, focused on the details. Now, Cam Newton is their starting quarterback, and Cam brings a different energy. He has a different swag about him. He's already been voted the captain. Guys are embracing his leadership. So I like the Bills to just edge the New England Patriots atop the AFC East.
You know, to me, Tiki, this is the first time this division's really interesting. In totality, even the teams at the bottom have storylines that you have to pay attention to. I'm firmly, I'm on the Bills caboose here. I'm riding it. Let's go. Bills are going to win this division. Matter of fact, to be fully honest, I put in a futures bet today pertaining to the Pats, which was the over/under total wins for the Pats. I went under. I think the Pats are. Listen, now if they go 9-7, I push, and that probably happens. But I'm more inclined to think they're 8-8, more so than 10-6. They lost. Forget about the whole Brady thing, which is big. They lost a lot of guys that checked out for the COVID situation, other guys that just retired or walked away. I'm going to go Bills 1. This is their division. It's time. Pats number 2. By the way, it wouldn't surprise me if the Pats actually didn't finish second, but I'm going to put the Jets 3rd and the Dolphins 4th. I know the Dolphins had a really good offseason. The only problem with that is that's usually fool's gold. The Jets finished the season strong. So did Miami. But I think this is the Bills show. And I think the Bills should be, with the addition of Stephon Diggs and a good running game and a pretty stout defense, this should be one of the better teams in the conference. And if not, something went a little wrong for the Bills.
AFC North.
I have this shaping up: the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals. You have a rookie quarterback with no offseason, no preseason games, as good as Joe Burrow was in college, and he may surprise me. I think they're pulling up the rear. He has got a lot of confidence. So does Zach Taylor, their head coach, but I don't think that they have enough of moxie to best anyone in this division right now, especially with the talent that the Browns have. But I still have them finishing at the back end of the division. The Steelers are so good defensively, and they're only going to get better with more experience under their belt. As much as we want to, or others wanted, not me, others wanted to malign Mike Tomlin. He's one of the great coaches in the NFL right now. He's defensive minded. He has his hand in that defensive side of the ball, and always has over the last few years. With Minka Fitzpatrick stolen from the Dolphins, I think they continue to accelerate. But the division goes back to the Ravens. The Ravens have Lamar Jackson, who is one of the most exciting football players in the National Football League. And I'm not saying he's going to be elite, he's going to win the MVP again, but I know that he is a pain in the ass for defensive coordinators to game plan against. They've upgraded offensively, they've upgraded defensively, and they were already one of the better defensive teams in the National Football League. Plus, and the head coach in John Harbaugh, I think the Ravens continue their existence atop the AFC North.
You know, Teak, this is one of those divisions where I can see 3 teams. We'll get to this. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition. But I think 3 teams are really going to be in play for the playoffs with the additional wild card. So right away, it's fun. Every game's going to matter. I'm with you on the Bengals. They're a year or two away, although they're going to beat a couple teams that they're not, quote-unquote, supposed to beat this year. To just throw them in the Jaguars territory that, you know, they're going to be 2-14. I don't see that. With A.J. Green healthy and some other play, Joe Mixon could run. Burrow's already 23 years of age, so I don't think he's going to be like most rookies swimming. They're not going to be very good, but they're not going to be very bad. Where we do disagree, I'm giving this division to the Steelers. What the Steelers did a year ago was incredibly impressive. They managed to change the DNA of their team, which is very hard to do while still being very, very viable. Like, they're, you know, for the most part, they were always an offensive team, try to hang 40 on you. Big Ben makes some sick plays, you know, and the defense was lagging for years, which was ironic because Tomlin's a defensive background guy. But their defense is top shelf. Big Ben's obviously back. I think the Ravens have a little regression, and I don't think that Lamar Jackson comes even close to replicating his MVP season from a year ago. I think there's a down twist. I still like the Ravens, but I love the Steelers to win the North.
AFC South.
I have the Colts, Titans, Texans, Jaguars. They're in the bottom, obviously. But the Colts are interesting. They have one of the better reconstructed offensive lines, and Jonathan Taylor now there with Marlon Mack in that backfield. Phillip Rivers doesn't have to do it all with his arm. But with T.Y. Hilton hopefully healthy, I think the Colts find a way to win this division over the Titans, who are the exciting pick and the team that I always like to talk about, mainly because Derrick Henry is a monster and he's a beast, and Ryan Tannehill had a resurgent season. But I think this division belongs to the Colts. Phillip Rivers is old and he's immobile, but he's protected this year, unlike in previous years when he was in San Diego and in Los Angeles with the Chargers.
I think one of the big differences in this division here is that the Colts have an elite offensive line, and the Titans, they had a good offensive line last year, and they lost, probably their best lineman in Conklin, who's now with the Browns. So, and the other thing, too, everything you said about the Colts offense, I'm with you. Frank Reich is a really good, innovative coach. I like what they did on defense, bringing in DeForest Buckner from the Niners, Rhodes from the Vikings. They've got some defensive players now, not to mention Darius Leonard, who we've had on the show. To me, the Colts are a team that not only do they easily win this division, but I think that the Colts have a chance to go, dare I say, 12-4-ish? Like if Rivers plays even moderately well, nobody's touching this team in the South. I do agree on the back end, complete rebuild for the Jaguars. I'm not loving the Texans, though I do think they're competitive tonight. And I even think the Titans take a bit of a step back, for a couple of reasons. I mentioned Conklin, but I don't know if it's realistic. That's a lot of money for Tannehill, and I know he made some big throws and big plays, and Henry's the man. But, I need to see a little more evidence with Tannehill before I start stamping this team as a perennial playoff team. Give me the Colts running away with the South.
AFC West.
There's really no one else to talk about here other than the Kansas City Chiefs. They're repeating as division title winners, maybe even the AFC champions. The Broncos are intriguing. I have the Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders pulling up the rear. I think this division is tight in the second level of it. Obviously the Chiefs are going to be the best team, and the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Raiders are all intriguing. They all have interesting players, but there's no other reason to talk about any other team other than the Kansas City Chiefs. Pat Mahomes is going to continue his ascension. He's half a $billion quarterback at this point. They stayed intact. They got better on the defensive side of the ball. The Chiefs are winning this division. I think it's easy.
Yeah, I think they win it, but I think there is a reason to talk about the Raiders a little bit here. We know about the tight end, who's phenomenal. We know about Josh Jacobs, who's phenomenal, over 1,200 yards on the ground. I've mentioned a few times when they went out and they got Mariota, you're going to see some sub packages that are going to move the chains and just add a little diversity to that offense. If he's not starting at some point, which I don't think he will. I think Derek Carr is going to be fine. The defense, too, to me, and the Raiders have an outstanding offensive line, something that gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah, well, Mariota's he's on IR right now.
No, I know.
He may be back after 8 weeks. But.
Yep. I know, but I think that even the kid Abrams, who got hurt last year, the safety there in Hard Knocks, he was a first-round pick. I mean, if this kid brings a little thump to that secondary, and I think he will, listen, the Chiefs are going to win this division, but here's what I'll say about the AFC West. While I say that the AFC North, there's 3 teams I could see, vying for playoff spots, the AFC West is one of the few divisions where there's just not a dog. Like, I don't see any 4-12. I don't even know if I see a 5-11 team in there because the Broncos, drafted Judy. You have Cortland Sutton. You have Locke as a quarterback. You got decent runners. Von Miller injury obviously hurts, but between the Raiders, Chargers, that's probably interchangeable, but I'm going to go Raiders too, and who knows, maybe I have the Raiders as a wild card team as well.
AFC wild card.
Yeah, to me, the AFC wild card is the Steelers. It's the I just had it and I just lost it. You have my list here?
I don't, Teak. I just have mine up, pal.
It's this Steelers, Titans, and Pats. Steelers, Titans, and the Patriots are the ones that pull up the wild card for me. Obviously, remember, it is an extended wild card, so there are 6 wild card teams this year as opposed to 4, and only the number 1 seed overall gets the bye.
Yep, we flip it a little bit. I've got the Steelers taking the North, which means I've got the Ravens taking a wild card. I've got the Browns, so I am going to go 3 teams from that AFC North. Maybe I get bitten by this, a little fool's gold. There's just a lot of talent there. I have a little faith in the Browns, and I'm going to go with the Raiders here. There's a lot to like, and there's a lot of weapons. I think the Raiders are in that 9-win territory. Give me the Raiders, that final AFC wildcard spot.
NFC East.
NFC East to me is the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, and what the Washington football team. They pull up the rear here. I like the Giants, and I could talk about them endlessly because I think there's some optimism, but it's a few years away. For me, this is the Cowboys division. They've done so much on the offensive side, even stealing, wide receiver in the draft, which was phenomenal.
CeeDee
Lamb, who looked great, exactly. And defensively, they've also upgraded in somewhat accidental fashion. The Eagles, I know they won a division last year, but I always feel like there's something lingering under the surface with them every single year. They'll be good. I don't know if they have enough to best the Cowboys this year. Finally, the Cowboys get it done.
I think those two things that are lingering is a dearth of wide receivers and a constant barrage of injuries. Those are two things that have always plagued the Eagles here, at least the last couple of years. I'm with you. The Dallas didn't win this division a year ago. To me, was criminal. I think they make up for it. I think they win the division by at least 2 games. I think they're going to be really, really good. I don't think the Giants are a couple of years away. I'd say that they're a year away. They need another defensive player or two, but I love their offense. And obviously with Washington, Ron Rivera planting seeds, they'll be more competitive, and we'll see what Haskins is. But Cowboys should win this thing. Probably got them right around 11-5-ish. I think the Cowboys win the East.
NFC North.
The North, I have the Vikings, the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears. I don't love the Bears quarterback selection here. The Lions, I just don't trust yet with Matt Patricia. He's in a hot seat year. The Packers, I think, overachieved a little bit last year. Aaron Rodgers was good. He wasn't great. In fact, Kirk Cousins, the team I have leading this division with the Vikings, actually had better statistics, touchdowns, completion percentage, QB rating over the last 3 years than Aaron Rodgers. I think they take a step back a little bit as they recreate their defense somewhat. And the Vikings are only getting better. Mike Zimmer got a contract extension just because his defenses are always stout. And with Dalvin Cook leading the way, I like this Minnesota team to win this division and get into the playoffs and maybe even win a couple games.
Yeah, they did lose a few defensive pieces, but I've got the Vikes taking the North as well. The Packers, to me, kind of a flimsy 13-3 if there's ever such a thing. This is going to sound crazy. I've got the Bears coming in second in the NFC North here. I've got the Vikings, the Bears. I'm going to go with the Packers here. I think that the Lions are maybe, I don't know if they're miles behind the Vikings, but listen, and by the way, this could be Stafford's last year with Detroit.
Yeah,
this could be, I mean, now you start getting to that real punitive aspect with the cap and, or beyond that. If they would have dealt him a year ago and there was some smoke that they might, now you could start to get into that if you want to, and maybe turn the page from Stafford, but I've got the Vikings. I've got the Bears surprising people. We'll see.
NFC South.
Saints, Bucks, Falcons, Panthers. The Panthers are rebuilding. New young head coach from college, a rookie coordinator on both sides, actually. The Falcons are interesting, and I think they may be closer to the top than they are to the bottom with Dan Quinn kind of in this you-got-to-do-it year. But as long as they stay healthy, they'll be good. But I don't think they're good enough to best the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have one of the great sackers in Shaq Barrett on the defensive side of the ball and the greatest quarterback in Tom Brady. I do think that they come in second, though, to the New Orleans Saints, who have consistently been good over the last couple of years, led by Drew Brees, but not necessarily dependent upon Drew Brees to get it done. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, defensively with Cam I'm forgetting his last name now, but Kim, their defense has been fantastic as well. They've balanced themselves over the last 3 years, the New Orleans Saints. I think they take this division again for the 4th year in a row.
There's a lot of questions in this division. We could prop it up and say you could lead with Drew Brees, you could lead with Tom Brady, or you could lead with the fact that they're almost 45 years of age. I mean, it really – this is such an unknown. I think you were talking about Cam Jordan, by the way, for the Saints. Terrific player. The Panthers are obviously intriguing. Matt Rule handed the keys there. Teddy Bridgewater in charge. You still got C-Mac. You've got some good receivers. They brought in Robbie Anderson, who's a deep threat. You got DJ Moore. I don't think the Panthers, and they had all 8 or all 9 draft picks on defensive players. I don't think the Panthers are going to be nearly as bad as some people think. But if I've got to pick a winner, I'm going to reluctantly pick the Saints. Not putting any of my own money behind that because I think this will be a little topsy-turvy, and I think the Falcons will be better. But until they prove that they can handle the I don't know, the Falcons have disappointed me a couple of years in a row. I'm not sold on Quinn anymore, so I've got to see it before I tout them. but I'll take the Saints reluctantly to win the South.
NFC West.
Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, and Rams, who I think take a big step backwards. The Seahawks, though, I love Russell Wilson. We always have. He doesn't get enough MVP consideration. You'll see in a little bit he will be my MVP candidate. The 49ers, as good as they were, defenses figure out run games. If you have a complex passing offense, maybe it takes a little bit longer, but when you can play gap defenses and put extra guys in the box and force it on Jimmy Garoppolo, I think they will take a step back from that outstanding year that they had last year. I think the Seahawks win this division. The 49ers come in second, but they'll still make the playoffs.
You know, I think the 49ers, for a really good team, may have had the best draft for a really good team. So that obviously portends good things. Whereas I think Seattle made the single biggest offseason move, bringing in, I'm going to say it, guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. Jamal Adams is that good. And I think fans who don't know that, maybe out in Seattle or in this division because they don't watch him play all the time, he is a game wrecker. So I you know, they're both really good. You know, I have a lot of love for Kyler Murray. They're probably a year away, but I think the Cardinals come in third, and the Rams, I'm with you. They have 3 running backs, although I think, hopefully for their sake, Cam Akers eventually emerges. I'm not sold on Goff. They paid him a little early. They have not been rewarded. They got a lot to prove. Give me the Niners winning this division. Although, Tiki, if Seattle won it, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
NFC Wild Card.
Packers, Buccaneers, and the 49ers.
I've got Seattle, I've got the Bucks, and I've got the Eagles. So I've got 2 teams in the NFC East getting to the playoffs there, Giants and obviously Washington coming up short. But I think the Eagles find a way to squeeze out that final bid.
MVP.
One of the reasons that I believe the Seahawks go so far is because Russell Wilson wins the MVP, and he carries his team in a way and in greater fashion than he's ever carried this team, which he's done every single year.
Can the man get a vote? Forget about winning the award. Can we get him a vote? A singular vote. Funny, I got the Niners winning the division, but I'm on the same page as you. I've got Russell Wilson winning the MVP.
Defensive Player of the Year.
One of the reasons I like the Colts in the AFC South is because Darius Leonard has been a monster since he came into the league. He wins my Defensive Player of the Year.
Good call. I'm going to go with Myles Garrett. I believe he's going to come back with a vengeance. I also believe that they're going to jump on some teams and get in situations where the opposing teams have to throw a little bit here. Now, if I'm wrong on that, then I've got a little bit invested with the Browns. I got him as a wild card team. I've got Garrett as the DPOY, but I think Myles Garrett, outside of Bosa, he's probably the second best defensive end. He's great. I'm going to go with Garrett.
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire gets the starting job by default. Damian Williams opted out, and he's going to get used in so many different ways in Kansas City with that offense, just like he was at LSU with Joe Brady as their offensive coordinator. I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I saw him play a couple times, and I was impressed.
You've been raving about him. Tiki's been on Clyde Edwards-Helaire for months. Actually over a year, now that I think about it. You've been on him as early as anybody. I've got him here as well, and I got burned in my draft the other night. 2 slots before I was going for him.
Of course.
He got snagged, and he probably starts lighting it up beginning tonight against the Texans.
Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Isaiah Simmons at the Clemson BT played 100 snaps at safety, 100 snaps at linebacker, and 100 snaps as an edge rusher. This kid is all over the place. He makes play after play after play for an improved Arizona Cardinals team and defense.
Getting a little repetitive here. I love a guy because I've got Isaiah Simmons as well, a guy that you could plug all over the spot and utilize favorable matchups. Oh, this guy's they're weak on the left side of the line. Let's have him rush the quarterback. Oh, they're weak in the slot. Let's just see him shut that. Well, I mean, he can do anything.
That's right.
And he's gonna accumulate a lot of different stats in a lot of different columns, and I think that catches people's notice. I got Simmons winning the award as well.
Coach of the Year.
This is good.
Frank Reich. He's the head coach of the year for me. You lost Andrew Luck a couple years ago. You replace him now, ultimately, with Phillip Rivers, who also might be a Hall of Famer. I like them offensively, defensively, and I like him as a coach.
All right, listen, how many years did I gripe about Jason Garrett and the underachieving ways of the Dallas Cowboys? I believe Mike McCarthy is going to make a palpable difference immediately. Mike McCarthy, Coach of the Year, Dallas.
Super Bowl 55.
Super Bowl 55. I have the Chiefs getting back against the Seattle Seahawks, and Russell Wilson lives up to his MVP and wins it. His second Super Bowl. Seahawks, Super Bowl 55 champions.
And inches away from his third, if you're right about that.
Right.
But I don't think he will be, because I've got the Cowboys and I've got the Steelers. I'm going a little romanticized into the 70s. I got Dallas and Pittsburgh. Old school. How great would that be? Old school 70s rivalry. Couple of blue bloods, Dallas and the Steelers, and the Dallas Cowboys finally crack through, and they win the Super Bowl. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.